Hello, 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 everyone. If you can hear the sound of my voice, please drop a 1 in the chat. If you can hear the sound of my voice, please drop a 1 in the chat. I'm excited about this. Today, we are talking about the balance sheet, okay, which is a financial statement. That is one of the 3 to know about. The first being the income statement, the second being the balance sheet, and the third being the cash flow statement. But just to make sure we're all together, drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me right now. I'm looking, I don't see anything yet. All right, tell me if you can't hear me. Tell me if you can't hear anything right now. I want to make sure we are all square before I dive in. Lindsay, what's up, mama? All right, what's up, E? That's my cousin on the house. Okay, beautiful, 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 beautiful. So we have a lot of ground to cover today. You all are brilliant, and I'm going to make sure that you are equipped to continue to be cold against anybody in the world, okay? So we're going to dive into this, all right? Now, I want to understand who we have in the house first. If you are a vet, meaning you've been rocking with Blaze for a while, you've come to some of my trainings before, please drop vet in the chat. If you are a newbie, I'm still gang about mine, okay? Drop newbie in the chat, just so I have a level of understanding, right, of who is brand new to this type of experience with Blaze, and who's been here before. So, you know, I can assume you know a few things about the tribe. I'm looking. Newbie, hi, Janisha. It is so nice to have you here. My heart is full. Shell, what's up, mama? Shell is a newbie and she's happy to be here. I am so happy that you are here. I appreciate the affirmations you've been sending me over Instagram DMs and your Instagram story tags. You are light and I appreciate you. All right, good to know. Okay, let's do this. Amber, what's up, mama? Okay, we got some good representation in here today. Let's do this, y'all. We have a whole lot of ground to cover. While I'm pulling this up, as always, I want to know where you all are tuning in from. I am in Nairobi, Kenya. I've been on the continent for about 2 years now. I've only been back in the States for 2 weeks, so I have to fix that very soon before my parents start acting up. Okay. But where are y'all from? I know Amber's out there in the good old state of Arizona. Happy you're here, mama. I'm waiting. I'm looking. I really do care, too. I really do care. Greenville, South Carolina, home team. What's up, Greta? Janisha's from Dallas, Texas, but working in Houston. Super dope. Love a good remote work setup, honey. Okay, dope. Very good representation across the states. Okay, I love it. All right. So today we are diving into the balance sheet, okay? We have a whole lot of ground to cover. I want you all to be sure to ask me questions fluidly. This is safe space. The only horrible question is the one you don't ask because you will continue to move through the world not understanding, right? So use the Q&A box, use the chat box. I will answer your questions throughout this, okay? Amen, Anthony. Yeah. All right. So some of you are new to this space. I appreciate you for being here. I will always hold space for you. I'll show you better than I can tell you, but I'm Casey Ariel, okay? I'm the founder of Blaze Group LLC. Blaze stands for Building Leaders and Accepting Zero Excuses. Why? Because the world has said that progress is slow. The world has put Black women at the last rung of the ladder, and we continue to carry everything and everybody. Right. And so Blaze is building leaders and accepting zero excuses because I know we cold. I know we are 10 times as good. I'm going to make sure without excuse, right, that we are recognized as such and that the world knows our name. So I want you to know if you are in the right spot, as always. Right. Because if this is not for you, right, and this does not edify you, then, hey, I want you to protect your time. OK, so this is for the entrepreneur that is in need of business funding. If you are in need of business funding, it is so critical that you understand what the balance sheet is. And I will convince you of why today. Okay, but know that you should not skip this step. As a matter of fact, if you understand the balance sheet, you will move with so much more precision than most other folk out there who do not. Okay, this is also for the person who is unsure about when to aim for debt, right? You have stuff all over the place. Your uncle says, you know, don't trust those banks, don't get in debt, right? You see things online that's saying, yes, use other people's money, OTM, right? You yourself may remember, I bring this up a lot because it's so real, right? You yourself may remember what debt did to your family, what debt did to generations, right, before you. So if you are unsure about when to aim for debt, I will give you clarity today. Clarity gives peace, right? Clarity gives nights full of rest, okay? So that is so important for this journey. This is also for the founder who has little to no finance experience. I promise you, you do not need to have a corporate finance degree to understand this stuff, okay? Nor did you need to have aced out in math, okay? If I'm in your house so far, drop a 1 in the chat. I want to make sure that this is relevant for you, right? And that you can see yourself in what we're about to do, because we have a whole lot of ground to cover. This is also for the entrepreneur who is wanting to build wealth. Okay. And wealth, right, is a heavy word. When I say the word wealth, I get chills in my arms, quite actually, because I believe that folks are talking about revenue a whole lot without understanding anything else, right? And so they set folk up for failure. Wealth is a whole nother other thing, right? When we think about legacy, right? We think about making sure our family, our children, our children's children, our children's children's children, right, don't have to work their fingers to the bone to be okay. Wealth is a part of that discussion. So if this is you, you're in the right spot. Shell, I see you. All right, beautiful. Janisha, I see you. I'm glad this is landing. This is also for the entrepreneur who wants to learn early warning signs of trouble, right? Some people actually are familiar with some of this stuff. Some people actually, right, are already having good nights, right? But the problem is, right, when things are happy-go-lucky and you don't know what to look out for, right? Calamity hits you like a ton of bricks, right? And so the person who actually wants to understand how to see the early warning indicators before the shit hits the fan, this is for you. I promise you, I got you, okay? So you're in the right spot if you see yourself in this. Really quickly, for those who are new, I am Casey Ariel. I grew up in South Carolina. That's why I got excited when I saw the Greenville, South Carolina. Okay. I went to the University of South Carolina. So I'm a proud Gamecock. And I'll say I wasn't always proud, right? Let's be clear. You know, South Carolina is extremely racist, right? I didn't really see myself in a lot of the professors that taught me, right? But I can truly say post-graduation, since starting Blaze, man, especially the Honors College, they have leaned in so much. I've been able to hire talent as fellowships from the Honors College, and these kids looked at me and said, man, I wish I could do what you're doing. I don't even want to go to corporate. I've been able to hire them for consulting gigs to really teach them, right, how to build their own businesses. So many things. They're laying a brick in my honor that will forever be on the campus this quarter, right? Incredible things, right? So I today, right, am a proud Gamecock, and I'm happy that, you know, they are actually turning the tide and really kicking hard for Black women. But college was important for me because up until that point, I was never in a room with 300 people in a lecture hall where somebody pointed to me directly and said, what is your view on this? What? And because I'm a geek, I actually couldn't slide down and hide behind anybody because I was at the front of the room, okay? But it was important because that was the first time in my life that I had to grow comfortable, right, in the sound of my own voice, right? I had to state to somebody on paper, right, what I wanted to be, register for the classes and commit to that thing, right? Everything before then was pretty fluid, right? So that was a very pivotal moment in my life, and I am positive that it was a catalyst to a lot of what I'm doing today. I am divorced. I had a cookie cutter life, y'all, valedictorian of this, that, and the third, I promise. Graduated from high school with a 5.91 GPA, right? Did all the things in college, right? Graduated magna cum laude. 4 weeks later, I married my high school sweetheart. We had been together for 6 years. And I thought we were going right into the sunset because somebody told me that that's what the American dream was. But that fool hit me one day, okay? He almost killed me, right? And I, very different from what I'd done at that point, up until that point where everything was methodical, I decided 12 days later, I stayed long enough to get the restraining order and put the house on the market, child. I was gone. I vanished, okay? And I started my entire life over in Oakland, California. And that too has everything to do with who I am today, because that taught me that I can start over from scratch and still be cold. I could still be okay. I could do it differently from what folk told me needed to be done, right? In a colonized world, right? And still win. So I did that, and then today I'm in Africa. Okay, February 2021, I came over here. I've lived a year in Cape Town. I've been in Nairobi, Kenya for maybe 7 or 8 months, right? And we still rocking. Thank you so much, Shell. I appreciate you. Amber said, I got next. Hire me. Hey, look, sis, there's space. There's space. Love Neo Soul. For those who know me, you know that. Like, I will play a playlist for 20 years, clearly. Okay. Erykah Badu, India Ivory. I actually sing. I have a very like neo soul type of voice. Like, if you love me, won't you say something? Like very soul-y, right? So that fed me. Addicted to chocolate. I'm trying to do better because this entrepreneurial lifestyle has eating a Snicker a day that my baby gave me and got me a little fluffy. So I'm gonna work on that, and then I'm a finance geek. Okay, so I promise you're in good hands today. I spent over a decade structuring multi-billion-dollar loans for tech corporations, the Ubers, the Airbnbs, the Pinterest, the Apples, the Microsoft. These are my clients. Okay, I talk to their CEOs. I say yes or no to debt for them. But I never gave a loan to a Black person, and I never worked on a deal team with a Black woman. So in 2020, I said, I got to bounce, cuz. I got to bounce. And literally 5 months later, I was on the continent structuring a finance solution for poor farmers without bank accounts. Because I said, it ain't your fault, cuz, that they didn't show up and do marketing in your village. It ain't your fault, cuz, that they don't want you in their banks and that their banks are exclusive by design, right? And so I started doing consulting for this tech company called Hello Tractor. I still do that today. And this year, we launched the product in January. This year, we have underwritten, meaning we have given out loans, okay, in the aggregate total of $5 million across Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria. And 40% of those folks that received tractors that banks will not finance on the continent are women. Okay, so I promise you're in good hands. I will teach you. I promise you, you'll feel it in your bones how to show up in the world and do good things. Good, not because somebody else says it's good, but good because you're free. Good because you're whole, right? Good because it means something to you. All right. So that's who I am. But the most important thing is that I cape hard for Black women. I am committed to Black women. I owe Black women everything. Big Mama did it for me. I'm doing it for you, right? I will be an ancestor one day, and I'm going to be proud about the legacy, right, that I leave. So we'll get started. I've done a couple things with a couple people. You might notice these logos, just to let you know. I promise I'm not up here shooting from my hip, okay? But today you will learn a few things. The main things being how to maintain financial health, because when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? When you stay ready, you do not have to get ready. And that is the goal, right? So I'll teach you how to grow your company at a healthy pace, right? Without burning shit down on the way, okay? And to help you be thoughtful, okay? I'll teach you what banks want. How can you teach me what banks want, Casey? Because I was the banker, okay? I managed a huge portfolio, okay, of loans and financial instruments. And I will give that same knowledge to you, I promise. Ain't no gatekeeping over here. And thirdly, which is very important, I'll teach you how to be strategic, because success is not accidental. Somebody please write that in the chat. Success is not accidental, it is strategic. When you look at the greats, I promise you, it was strategic decisions over a period of time, and then the world knew their names. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to move as a founder, as a chief executive, and not the worker bee. All right. Let's get into it. So today is about the balance sheet. Okay. Again, questions as you have them. This is technical stuff, so I expect there to be questions. There is space for you, sis. Okay. Question. I'm going to drop this poll right now. I want you to tell me whether you believe that assets are the same as net worth. Are assets the same as net worth? What do you think? I see no's. Are assets the same as net worth? I'll give it a little more time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I see 100% no. Well, everyone, you're right. Assets are not the same as net worth. I hope that you are feeling good about this and patting yourself on the back. This is no small thing. I promise you there are several people out here who do not understand this, who are teaching other people who do not understand this, and people are chasing what are called vanity metrics. Remember that, vanity metrics that sound really sensational, right? But have nothing to do with financial health, okay? You're exactly right. Assets are not the same as net worth. I have another question for you. Is net worth a measure of wealth? Don't be shy now. Don't be shy now. Is net worth a measure of wealth? Ebony said, Lord, my connection is delayed. It's all right, sis. We in here. We got time. Is net worth a measure of wealth? What do you believe? Don't be shy about this. Okay, I see some yeses. Paul, answer now. Don't hide now. And I can't see your name if that's if that's what was holding you back from answering. Is net worth a measure of wealth? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, you are correct. I'm so proud of y'all. Energy. Net worth is a measure of wealth. It absolutely is, right? And so, as you are thinking about increasing your revenue, right? As you are thinking about growing your company, as you are thinking about, being known for scale and being known in different states and cities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, remember, please remember, that it's not about the car you driving and the house you're living in. Those are assets. Absolutely right. That's amazing. Love it. I love that for you, sis. But if you want to accumulate wealth, bruh, okay, net worth is the measure, not assets. Okay. And if there are chats throughout this, if there are questions throughout this, ask any questions. So let's go deep. All right. So we've established that assets are not equivalent to net worth. 100% of y'all who answered the poll got that exactly right. And we've established that net worth is a measure of wealth. Beautiful. So now we know what to care about. Now we know what factor actually tells us, right, what our wealth is, literally. Okay. Now the balance sheet is the perfect financial statement to understand because it shows a company's assets, liabilities, and net worth. What I am telling you is, without exception, if you have a balance sheet for your company, you will know the net worth of your company, and that is a measure of your wealth. It does not have to be this thing that you lick your finger and have a little, you will literally know what your wealth is. And you'll also know what your assets are alongside it, and you'll also know what your liabilities are, okay? Net worth is wealth. We've established that. Net worth is also called equity. Net worth is also called equity. They're exactly the same. Question for you all. Drop this in the chat. Have you heard of equity before? And if you have, what are examples? Like, what context has people used equity in? When people have talked about equity on TV or in the spaces you're in or in your family or you in your relationships, right? How are you talking about it? What forms of equity are you discussing? What are you contemplating? I'll give you a few seconds to cue it up. And don't be shy, right? We are amongst family. This is a safe space, right? This will completely edify you. There is no downside to engaging in this conversation, right? Home. Love it. What's up, Astrid? Astrid said home. So she's been talking about home equity. Love that. Exactly right. People definitely think about home ownership when they think about equity. It's just the way you have to look at it, okay? And we'll talk about that today. Shell said, I hear in the workplace, you can get equity in come on now, you can get equity in a company if you work there long enough or ask for it in an interview. Exactly right. Exactly right. So I'll repeat that. So Shell says she's heard equity spoken of in her company, right? Where people talk about how if you stay here long enough, they will give you equity. if you ask for it at an interview. Any other examples of equity? If not, it's all good. We'll move on. But so far, we've had home, right? Equity in the form of stock, right? Stock, when you own stock in that company, you own equity in that company. All right, beautiful. I'll keep watching the chat, but great. Now, remember this, write it down. Please write it down. We need to feel this in our bones. The balance sheet shows three things: assets, like we've said; liabilities, like we've said; equity, like we've said. Write that down and remember that, founder. Remember that, founder. We got to be working on the business and not just inside the business. The balance sheet shows three things: assets, liabilities, and equity. And that is why you should care. Equity is your net worth. When we talk about Bill Gates' net worth, what is Oprah's net worth? What you can measure your own net worth with the balance sheet. I promise you, no exception. It ain't no deeper than that at all. And equity is also wealth. They are all these same things. So when we think about wealth, when people talk about the wealthy do this, they are not talking about folks with the most assets, right? I lived in Charlotte for a while. I lived in South Carolina for a while. And a lot, Shell will notice, Ebony will notice, a lot of people talk about how the wealthy, right, they aren't flashy, right? They wear very understated clothing. They drive Toyotas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And people say that without actually understanding, right, why that's a perfect example of wealth, right? Because when their assets, we'll get into this, are existing without a whole bunch of debt, then you have equity. So if you aren't spending all of your money on assets that you owe somebody back, that's how you accumulate wealth, right? It's actually a very deep thing, right? This is why the non-flashy people, not always, but this is why the non-flashy people tend to, right, be understated, because it's just like, yeah. We'll get into it. I don't want to go on a tangent too much. All right, so assets minus liabilities equals equity. This is a new correlation that you need to understand, but I promise you, I'll help you out. Assets minus liabilities equal equity. So I'm talking about the wealthy people who dress understated, right? Their assets minus their liabilities, what they owe folk, gives them that equity. Example, Asterisk said it. A house is an asset. It absolutely is. A mortgage is a liability. It absolutely is. Only the house value minus the mortgage is the equity. In other words, if your house value is less than your mortgage, your equity is zero or negative. I hope this is making sense. This is how you measure wealth. It is not just a house. It does not matter if somebody has a beautiful, immaculate house. What are other examples of an asset? Let's get into some more. I got you, Shell. Car is an asset. A car is an asset. An auto loan is a liability. The value of the car minus what you still owe on it is your owner's equity. Meaning, if you pay down 50% on your car, right, and you only owe half of the value of the car left, you have owner's equity. Whatever that value is that you actually have already paid down and you own is yours. And this is how you get to wealth, because owner's equity equals wealth. It is this simple. I promise you. I promise you. Another example, commercial real estate, right? People buy commercial real estate. Maybe they buy commercial real estate to have apartments and they sell it. Maybe they buy a commercial real estate to have office space and they lease it out, right? Maybe they buy commercial real estate to put a hospital there, a clinic there, you name it. It does not matter. Commercial real estate is an asset. Anybody, you and I, can own commercial real estate. Commercial because I'm using it to make money. But while I'm using it to make money, I still can have a liability associated with it. So if I have a real estate loan, my equity in that is the commercial real estate value minus the real estate loan. That's my owner's equity. Once again, if the value of my commercial real estate is trash and my real estate loan is huge, I don't have equity in it. There is no accumulation of wealth. There is no net worth being granted to me from this asset. I ain't done. Business equipment. Some of y'all making the pressing the t-shirts, right? You got machinery cutting the wood, right? So on and so forth, right? Beautiful. That is an asset. I promise I'm gonna bring all of this together. I want you to feel this in your bones though, because y'all got it. Y'all are brilliant. You literally answered both of the questions correctly, and most people, I promise, I promise, don't have an intuitive understanding of that, and this is why companies do not make it to the 5-year mark. All right. Business equipment, you have things. Actually, that is an asset. So if you have bought equipment for your business, look, this is equipment. Literally, it can be anything, right? That's an asset. If you have taken out a loan against it, banks do equipment loans. I think more people need to know that actually, so they can actually mature their businesses. Banks give equipment loans, right? So your equity, because you can have equity in you can get equity from your equipment. Absolutely, it's an asset, right? The equipment loan value less the business equipment value less the equipment loan is equity. Equity is wealth. Equity is net worth. All right. Last one, just to make sure we're on the same page. Inventory. Some of y'all are making the candles. Some of y'all are making the t-shirts. Some of y'all are making the bath salts, right? Your inventory is an asset. I want you to understand that, right? Because this is absolutely relevant to you, right? Today, you don't need to be some big publicly traded company to care about your equity, okay? If you have inventory, that's an asset, and understand the value of those assets, right? Now, if you drew down on your credit card to buy that inventory, right? Think about that relationship, right? Your equity, right, is lowered by that money you owe against that, right? So only the net of the two, only the inventory value less that credit card drawdown is your owner's equity, because you still got to pay that money back. All right. Shell says, so the flex of a brand new car ain't really a flex. Say it with your chest, sis, unless they bought that bad boy full price, right? And we're going to hit on this too, because a tendency when we break it down this way is to think that, oh, that is bad. The OTM people, other people's money people, you know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're talking about. Actually, I'm going to teach you how to just be strategic around it. It's not bad, right? It's about being healthy, right? And there's not enough conversation of how to be healthy. The conversation are being had on the golf courses, I promise you, in the locker rooms, etc. But Black women are not there. So we bring the knowledge to the streets. All right, let's do this. And computers. Okay, you get a computer. You get a Best Buy loan on this equity. I think y'all got it, though. Let me know if you don't. But I want to make sure you feel this in your bones. Now, the balance sheet looks like this. Do not be intimidated. Do not be intimidated. I told you there are 3 things that are important, okay? Assets. We know a lot of examples. We know computers. We know machinery, child. We know our real estate, right? We know examples now, right? The asset is one. Liabilities is another. I told you there are 3. The balance sheet, your balance sheet, any company's balance sheet will show you your liabilities. We talked about what they are. The mortgages are liabilities, right? The real estate loans are liabilities. The Best Buy credit for the computer is a liability, right? The auto loan is a liability. The credit card drawdown for stuff on your business is a liability. All of that stuff will show up in the liability section of the balance sheet. This is why the balance sheet has to matter for founders. It has to matter for you, right? And then the third piece is the equity, but y'all knew that because y'all here with me, right? So the equity piece is what is left over after the liabilities. That's it. That's all. The balance sheet shows all 3, and now you all understand exactly what those pieces are. Now, let me close a loop here. The assets for this particular company, okay, is a small business. Their total assets is $5,193, okay? Their liabilities are $2,736. Their owner's equity is $2,457. I need somebody in the chat, some people, it could be a couple of you all, tell me what their liabilities plus their owner's equity is. Their assets are $5,193, okay? Their liabilities, you see these 2 numbers up here. Do some quick math for me and tell me what their liabilities plus their equity is. What is that sum? total. Don't be shy about this. Safe space, right? We're kicking it together. The goal is for all of us to be edified and the world to know all of our names, period. While you're doing that, I'm going to read Amber's comment. I have a for-profit corporation. Currently, I haven't issued stock. Your thoughts? Is it beneficial? Oh, beautiful. And we'll get into this today. I would say, and we'll definitely have some examples of this, don't rush. Okay? And we'll get into the whys, right? But don't rush to give out stock, because that means that they're owners too. And the owner's equity ain't Amber's owner's equity. It's Amber, Shelly, Monica, Belinda's owner's equity, right? So your wealth is split, right? But it's just like the debt, right? Just like the bank stuff, right? It's not necessarily a never do it a bad thing, right? It's just being strategic. All right, beautiful. Asterisk totaled up for me, and guess what? You're exactly right. The total is $5,193. So this is what this means. Catch this. Your assets will always equal your liabilities plus your equity. Always. There's never any exception. Ever. I promise you that. Okay? Just know that. Your assets will always equal your liabilities plus your equity. Now, if your liabilities are higher than your assets, then you got negative equity, okay? And that means you're burning down, okay? Now, I say that lightly because there are things that you could do, right? We're talking about debt, right? Versus paying for things in full. Sometimes you can't, right? Maybe somebody do some cash injection, but they say, well, I'll be a part owner, right? So things you can do, but I just need you to know your assets will always equal your liabilities and equity. Always. Okay. And if your liabilities exceed your assets, honey, we're going to see an example today. I got you. You have negative equity, meaning your wealth is where that though, right? It's this person driving around in a dope car and they literally have no equity, right? It happens. Okay. All right. Why does this matter? I've said a whole lot of things, but it does not mean anything if it doesn't matter to you. I agree. You should ask that question. Number one, understanding this will help you to avoid bankruptcy. We have heard about bankruptcy a lot. There's not a person on this webinar that has not heard of bankruptcy, but you may not have understood how to avoid it. When your liabilities are higher than your assets, you are insolvent or bankrupt. That is what that means. This gives context to that word. This gives context to the stories of people that we see on TV that went bankrupt. When they go bankrupt, it means that their liabilities have exceeded their assets. And this is why it is so important to be careful, okay? To be very, very careful about the way that you grow your business, okay? Additionally, when your liabilities are higher than your assets, it's a sign that you may default on your obligations. What does that mean, Casey? A default is when you're supposed to pay somebody and you don't. That's a default, right? When the repossession happens, right? When the foreclosure happens on the house, right? When people are cutting off your credit card, right? And they say, you cannot spend anymore, okay? When your liabilities are higher than your assets, it's a sign that you may default on your obligations. It may not have happened already, right? But I'm an ex-banker, and what I'm telling you is, if I can look at anybody on this call's, on this webinar's balance sheet today, and I would be able to know, because I would know the early warning signs. Remember I said I would teach you about these things, right? I would be able to look and know the early warning signs that you may default. You're likely to default on some of your obligations. Not even the ones just with me. I can look at your thing and know that you probably are going to default with your creditors, people that you have a lease with, people that you renting something from. Okay. And you also understand this piece too, right? When your liabilities are higher than your assets, it's a sign of financial distress. It is a sign of financial distress. It is a sign of financial distress, right? So what I am telling you is, right, it doesn't take somebody coming on Instagram, snotting and crying for me to know, right, if I look at their financials, right, that they're in financial distress. It doesn't take for me as a business owner to wait for clients to leave and walk away and not renew for me to know if I'm in financial distress. If you have a balance sheet, founders, and you are able to look at your assets, your liabilities, and your equity, you will already know the warning signs, bruh, before stuff starts burning down and you figure out a strategy. right? That's how we have to move. The founder has to be 3 years ahead of where we are today. Your blogger can be today, okay? Your virtual assistant, yeah, send the email today, honeymoon, right? The content manager, baby, please post these slides, or please post these posts on Instagram, right? But the founder has to be forward-looking, and the balance sheet very simply helps you to do that. Lastly, when your liabilities are higher than your assets, you have negative net worth. Understand that. Sit with that, because it's real. I'll prove it to you today before we drop. Okay? When your liabilities are higher than your assets, you have negative net worth. Okay? And so our goal, founders, is to grow our business in such a strategic way and to be thoughtful in a strategic way, right? And put these building blocks in the right way, right? Where we are not insolvent, right? Where we don't have negative net worth. In the beginning, you might, right? Unless you have enough savings to just keep pumping in equity in your company and cash, right? All right, I'll get off that. Reason number 2 for why this matters, right? Wealth is because of legacy, okay? So when we think about generational wealth, when we think about leaving something behind, when we think about what has happened with a lot of Caucasian families, right? And the way they're passing down trust to their babies, right? Literally trust with money in it, and they can draw down for the rest of their lives, right? And then somehow the money is still left over. Why is the money still left over? Because there's owner's equity. They don't owe it to nobody. Ooh, that's deep. I don't even think we contemplate that. I don't even think we think about scenarios like that. Wealth is reflective of owner's equity. And if you know your owner's equity, you know your wealth, and you can have something to pass down because you don't owe it to nobody. Dang, that's deep. Right? I'm gonna keep going. Assets must exceed liabilities to accumulate wealth. You must have your assets exceed your liabilities to accumulate wealth. So, just like we talk about these folks in the South, where we say in the South, the people, got their money, they wear them khakis, right? And a t-shirt, right? Think about it in this context, right? They're not levering up, meaning they're not getting a whole bunch of debt for assets that don't have no value. You know what I'm saying? Is what can I afford today? What do I really need today? But bump what I can afford. Like, what do I really need so that I have owner's equity? So I have wealth that just sits there and can be passed down, right? So I have wealth to be able to put in assets where I don't have to get out a loan, a big of a loan against it, right? And it's appreciating the value, so I get more equity, meaning the value of that asset goes up and I have even more owner's equity, right? It's important for legacy because passing down wealth and passing down debt are 2 different things. Passing down wealth, okay, and passing down debt are 2 different things. In our communities, folk die and they leave mortgages for folk to figure out. They leave credit card bills for folk to figure out. They leave what they robbed from Tom, Peter, and Paul for other folk to figure out. They leave hospital bills. I could go on for days. Passing down wealth and passing down debt are 2 different things, and this is why you must, founder, care about the balance sheet. We want to pass down wealth, not debt. And my girl Lauryn Hill said perfectly, it ain't what you cop, it's about what you keep. Listen. So that's it, that's all. Okay? That's it, that's all. It ain't about what you cop, it's about what you keep. Okay? So I hope I've supported this argument, right? And then thirdly, I'll say the balance sheet is important. Not that you are a finance guru. You don't have to be. I'm asking you to be a founder that is more than a worker bee in your company, that you're working on the business, not just in the business. Okay? Ashe Katrina, she said, I care about the balance sheet. The third reason why is banks will not lend if you have too much debt. They just will not. I was a banker. So when they asked you to submit this stuff and you didn't know why before, now you know. If you already have too much debt, okay, and you ain't made no money from it, how do they know? Because your cash is an asset and you ain't got no cash on the balance sheet, they're not going to lend to you, hon. Now, does not mean the world is over, right? It just means you know these things, that you can strategically get things in place, right? You strategically increase those assets, right? And minimize those liabilities so that if you do have this big thing that you want the bank to support you for, your balance sheet is healthy. That's it. That's all. It is also important for funding because when they ask for collateral, I'm about to make a connection for you. Collateral is a reflection of your assets. That's literally all they're asking for. They want to know what is on your balance sheet in terms of assets, right? Feel like Do you feel how much sense this is making and how it allows you to move with confidence and clarity, you know, and able to assert your story to them? Collateral is a reflection of your assets on the balance sheet. Cash, that's an asset. Stocks you own in companies, that's an asset. Equipment, that's an asset. Machinery, that's an asset. Buildings, that's an asset. Land, that's an asset. Huh? But we didn't know it, right? But if we know the things that actually matter to these banks and we stack them assets up on the balance sheet, right? And we roll up in there and say, yeah, I need this right here. Yeah, I got collateral. I got stuff I can sell if I don't make this loan. I got stuff I can sell real. I can liquidate it easy. It's a different conversation. Lindsay said, sis, you I called. Thank you, mama. Ashley said, give it to her straight, no chaser. I say, that's love. That's love. All right. It's just in case I haven't convinced you yet. And again, I'm convincing you of why the balance sheet is important. And now we're in the funding vein, right? There are 3 reasons why, right? It matters to you as the founder. The balance sheet shows whether you've made sound decisions over time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Somebody would love to go to a bank and say, I made $100,000 this year. And the bank gonna say, yeah, send me your statement. Send me your financial statements. Why? It's because they can look at your balance sheet and see if you've made sound decisions over time, child. They can look at how much debt you have versus how much assets you have and say, this girl done been spending on stuff outside of the business. This girl has spent this money on stuff that didn't make her any money. This girl has negative net worth. She think I'm about to give her money just to bring her net worth. You know, literally, these are the conversations, right? They're having internally, right? That you didn't know about. But now you understand why, right? The balance sheet shows that you've made sound decisions over time. If your cash balance is healthy, where you have 6 months worth of business expenses, whether you make another dollar or not, then I know, right? When I was a banker, I know that, oh, she's been saving over time. She's been putting food in the storehouse, right? If you invested in machinery for your company instead of renting every doggone thing, I'm like, oh, she thoughtful. She's doing a one-time investment to make money for years to come, for 10 years to come. I'm like, woo, she cold, right? This is what the balance sheet matters for funding because it tells your business. Okay. And then lastly, investors, not banks, often take a cut of your equity. So now I'm in your house, Amber. Now I'm in your house. Okay. The balance sheet matters for funding. Okay. On the investor side too. So when an investor comes in, and I think y'all have heard today, now that the pandemic has happened, people are talking a lot more about funding Black women. Okay. Investors are folks who are going to come in and instead of them saying you got to pay me back, they're going to say, I'll give you this money and you got to give me a percentage ownership in your company. That's what that means. That's what's happening when I buy Apple stock. That's what's happening when you buy stock in GE. You are saying, I'm going to give you this money and you don't have to pay me back, sis. You don't have to pay me back, bro. But I got an ownership in your company. That's exactly what stock is. Okay. And so you understanding the balance sheet is important because if your net income is if your net worth is this big and you talking about giving out some to who? Well, what you got, sis? Right? So be thoughtful around that. Be thoughtful about making it big enough that you can still allocate to other people and get that money you don't have to pay back, but you still have enough for yourself, right? You still have enough for your family. You still have enough to pass down. And when y'all grow and as y'all grow, everybody's pie just gets bigger, right? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Just like ain't nothing wrong with that, right? We got to be healthy about how we're handling it, right? So tips, okay? I want to give you a few tips. You make sure. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go backwards. Number 1, use QuickBooks Online to pull balance sheet reports at least annually. This is not something you need to be looking at every week. Please don't look at it every week. Don't look at it every month. It is okay, okay? The balance sheet is just a snapshot in time. It will change every single day. Why does it change every single day, Casey? Because the cash in your balance sheet, in your bank account changes every day. Right? The stuff you decide to buy changes every day. The interest that's piling up on your shit, it changes every day. So I don't need y'all to look at a balance sheet every day. Please don't, okay? But at least annually is good hygiene, right? QuickBooks Online is a more expensive version than QuickBooks Self-Employed, okay? So if your business is not, making enough money that you can cover that cost, right, which is more expensive than QuickBooks Self-Employed, it's fine. You don't have to get QuickBooks Online. You can hire an accountant to do it one time. Right? And then do it again next year, right? So there's different ways to get it, but I would say QuickBooks Online, you can pull a balance sheet anytime you want to. I have that, okay? I love QuickBooks or hire an accountant. Another tip, Do not grow too quickly. Do not grow too quickly, because when your liabilities exceed your assets, you are insolvent. This is why people go bankrupt. They can't pay anybody because they have nothing to pay them with. Even if they sold every single thing that they own, it means they still don't have enough money to pay their liabilities, because the liabilities are higher than the value of their assets. So I need you to maintain a healthy cash balance, right? Work on those savings like you do personally, right? So that if something happens and you don't make another sale, right, you can keep going. That looks very healthy to banks. That looks very healthy to investors, okay? That really, really helps your net worth, okay? Don't grow too quickly. Pace yourself. Pace yourself in line with the revenue you are going to make, right? If you're about to make a big purchase and you can't see how that's going to give you way more revenue, you need to rethink how fast, right, how much you're investing at a time, okay? Another tip, using credit is fine, but manage it wisely. So this is back to you, Shell, right? It's actually okay. No shade if you use debt. No shade at all. At all. I'm going to prove it to you in a minute. Promise you that, okay? But it's manage it wisely, okay? Allow it to fund the things that will make you money, and then pay your stuff down frequently. Some people are selling toys, and their toys only sell for Christmas. Okay, fine. Get the credit card. Fine. Get a credit card so you can stock up your inventory, right? Get it so you can build this stuff, right? And then you're going to make all your money back in December, right? November, October. Pay it down, right? So credit is fine. It bridges you. Listen, it's your bridge that you can walk over using other people's money. Ain't nothing wrong with it, right? But manage it wisely, right? Don't be like the person in the flashy car and the big old house. I mean, they just throw on all kinds of shit, right? And they have no cash in the bank, and they have no way to pay it down quickly, right? No, right? So that's the difference. There's nothing wrong with investors, right? There's nothing wrong with debt, but you just have to understand, right, how to use it wisely. Greta, this has been helpful. Got to catch you in the meeting, but I'll catch you next 15 minutes on replay. Okay, it's going to be good. I'm going to show some examples of big companies, and you're going to be shook, okay? Greta said, thank you so much. You're welcome. All right, and then the last tip, give yourself grace and time, okay? Give yourself grace, Black woman. Perfection is not the price of admission. I'm going to say that again. Perfection is not the price of admission. It never was. Progress over perfection. It is the small habits that you do over an extended period of time that result in layered wealth, okay? It's that cash being there, then that equity in that building you bought, then that machinery that's sitting there, them computers, that land you decided to buy. These incremental things that you do over time, I promise you, I got chills while I'm saying it. Woo, 20 years go by and you got stuff to pass down to your kids that they don't owe back to nobody. They can put things on top of that land that generate money, and it's always in the family. This is the stuff that the British Empire did, right, in a very nasty way. And this is why still today, their children's children will be living off the wealth that they have, right? But we're going to do it in a thoughtful way, right? But this is how. Now you understand how, right? Amber said line of credit or credit card, either. They're essentially the same. Line of credits usually give you an even higher limit, but it's the same, right? You get this line you can draw up to, you pay interest on it, you pay it down. Either is literally similar. All right, now, real companies, okay? All right, so let's do Mickey D's, y'all. Let's look at their balance sheet. Let's get up in their business. I know it's grainy, so I'll call out the numbers and I wrote it on here too, okay? So this is from June 30th, 2022, literally a couple of months ago. Y'all are really about to see what's popping over here at Mickey D's. Yeah, here we go, Ashley. All right, so Mickey D's has total assets of $49 billion, okay? That's as of June 30th, 2022, okay? Y'all know how to look at the balance sheet. Total liabilities, they didn't sum it total, so I did the total for us. Uh-oh! They have liabilities of $55 billion. Light up the chat and tell me what this means, founders, because y'all know. Y'all already know. The beloved Mickey D's, I hate to smile, has liabilities of $55 billion, right? This is the stuff they owe to folk, right? This is what's wrong with the flex, right? When we talk about ourselves, right? But I'm showing you real companies. Like, you shouldn't be down on yourself. Ashley said, child. Okay, that's a good reaction. What does it mean? Tell me in words, what does this mean? Their total assets are 49 billion. Amazing, right? And so the person who's a flexer, they on Instagram, right? Look at what I got. Look at what I got. But the balance sheet tell your business. A banker like me can look up and say, "Oh, okay, you ain't getting no money from me. What the hell?" Shell said it's giving insolvent. Yes, it is. That's it. That's all. Janisha says they're not popping like they say based on this. Listen, it is this simple. I promise you. Y'all cold. Exactly right. This means that their total equity is negative $6 billion. You don't believe me? Look, squint your eyes and look at the bottom of that. What does it say? It says total shareholders' equity deficit, $6 billion. I told y'all. And y'all know the answer before you even look down there, right? It is this simple, okay? And so, like Kelsey said, it's giving insolvent. Right? It's going to be a lot of people saying hell no, and only the family and friends. Now they might have some family and friends. They've been around for a while, right? They might even have some family and friends inside of banking institutions. I've been there. People will bend some rules, okay, for some folk they well connected with, right? But this means they're struggling. You know this now, right? This is as of June 30th, 2022, where most people might not even know this because they haven't looked at their balance sheet. McDonald's is in a bind. McDonald's is in financial distress, literally. Literally, if they sold everything they own today, they still would not be able to pay their liabilities. How do we know? Because this is literally their balance sheet. You literally can pull this offline, okay, as of June. Now, it's been some time. Maybe they're a little better, but this, yeah, okay? All right. Another example, because y'all killed it. Let's do Nike. All right. So Nike has total assets of 41 billion. It is a little less than McDonald's, right? Now we see and we understand that it being less don't mean, right, that they're in a worse off position than McDonald's, okay? Total assets of 41 billion. They have total liabilities. Again, they didn't sum it all up, so I summed it up for you. They have total liabilities of 25 billion. Wow. We already know what this means. Somebody tell me in the chat. Y'all know, Big Founder Energy. Say it with your chest. Tell me in the chat what it means that Nike's total assets are 41 billion and their liabilities are only 25 billion. What does this mean in words? Tell me their story. Positive equity. Come on, Astrid. That's it. That's all. It literally means, and I'm going to tell you, this is their report. Exactly, Janisha. Positive equity. This is the report as of August 31st, 2022. Fresh. Recent. As of August 31st, 2022, Nike had total assets of $41 billion and total liabilities of $25 billion. So this means that they have total equity of $16 billion. Dang, that's cold. So when we think about this thing that Amber talked about, right? Where, you're thinking about, do I give some stock out, some shares, blah, blah, blah. Hell yeah, why not? They got plenty to, right? And their owners, what Shell talked about. Oh, we back there, right? Shell talked about folk who in the workplace talk about getting some shares in their company. It's exactly that. They why not? These people give out stock even to employees, and as a company does better, your assets grow. Literally, if you own stock every single day, if your stock amount grows, your balance sheet line for assets grows too. Okay, that is literally how this works. Y'all killed it. So happy. So proud. You get it. All right. So before I drop, I want y'all to ask me any questions you have before we drop. I haven't seen any in the chat, right? But ask me, okay? I want to tell you about the Blaze Business Intensive, because if you enjoyed this, I promise you the Blaze Business Intensive will hug you and not let go, okay? And I mean not let go, okay? It is a 6-week course in 6 different areas of business management, teaching you how to find yourself in your business, right? And manage it, right? I'll teach you whether you're in the right lane or not. I'll teach you whether you align to your most profitable skills. I'll teach you whether you need to scratch to the curb what mama said do and follow, right? What you really supposed to be doing in the world, all right? That's the Blaze Business Intensive. It is self-paced. There are 6 modules. Ask me any questions you have in the chat. I'll be watching it. Self-discovery, the business plan. One second, y'all. Budgeting, projections, strategy and automation, and networking. Okay, all of this is in there. I see some questions in the chat. Keep them coming. Janisha said, this has been amazing. Thank you for the knowledge. Amber said, why are you so amazing? Oh, thank you. And she also said, I'm thinking of issuing and keeping majority. Absolutely. I would highly recommend you keep majority, sis. Yo, listen how y'all talk like founders over here. Ashik says, just to clarify, you said you can look at big company balance sheets publicly. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Go to on Google, literally on Google. Okay, on Google. Go to EDGAR, Edgar. That's an acronym. Okay, but type in Edgar on Google any day of the week, any time of the day. Type in Edgar, and a search engine will come up. It's owned by the government. And you can type in any company. There's literally this field that says like search keyword. You only have to know their stock symbol, their ticker. Type any word. It could be Nike, McDonald's, etc. And company will come up and you can literally go in and look at their 10Qs. That's a quarterly, right? You can look at their 10Ks. That's annual. Look at 10Qs and 10Ks and hop to the balance sheet. Good question. All right. Before I go, self-discovery, this is where you learn your most profitable skills, and I will give you all the ashes and amen to tell you to go forth and do that thing, even if you have to rebuild the foundation. It's okay. And what? That's fine. All right. You'll discover your purpose, your power, and your principles on your path of profitability, because we did not leave our 9-to-5 to become a slave to our businesses. I will teach you how to build a robust business plan that works, one that includes knowledge of your competitors, one that includes your real strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats against real companies, right? Ones that include who they really are, who your customers really are, what you're really in it for, what your end game really is. All of this should be inside of a business plan. And if it's not, what you doing? A hobby? You just hustling, right? And it's okay, right? When we know better, we do better. Budgeting. I'll teach you strategic ways, right, to put the things in your business that must be there, the automation tools that must be there, the folks that must be there, the machinery, if so, that must be there to run a cold business and not be, running a hobby where we just making ends meet, and just DIYing our way through stuff, right? Because the world will know our names, okay? Financial forecasting. If I can make this easy, I promise you I can make projections easy. Where you looking out, for a whole year from now, and you already know what you're making every month, right? Good projections. And when investor taps you on the shoulder, when a bank taps you on the shoulder, when a family member taps you on the shoulder, you got something to show them, right? When you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Strategy and automation. I'll teach you how to automate your business and measure your results. I automate about 3,000 tasks every single month. Not lying. I'm not exaggerating, right? But I'll teach you everything I know. Right. And then lastly, networking principles. I always say that 1 + 1 is not 2. It never was. 1 + 1 is 11. That is how powerful connection is. That is how life-changing it is. That is how edifying it is. Okay. I'll teach you how to do it strategically. And you'll look up one day, I promise you this. And have a whole army of folk around you, okay? It's anchored in support, right? So it's not just this learning. You have a jumpstart session with me, even though the course is self-paced, right? You meet with me. And before you even start taking the course, I'll tell you what to focus on. I'll tell you which business to put down. I'll tell you whether your ideas are great. I'll give you new ones if you need them, right? Every single week for life, you have access to Wind Down Wednesday hours. Every single Wednesday for life. Ask any alumni, does the link not still work? Okay. Alumni from 2021, right? So yeah, Wind Down Wednesday office hours every single Wednesday, and it's me that shows up. You'll have homework for every single module. You are not just listening and then you're not applying. You apply this to your business real time. Otherwise, what's the point? We don't got time to waste. We're busy, right? And we're gonna get to the point where we got so much free time that we got beaches to be on drinking pina colada. Right? So homework for each module, a private community, and with private networking events, right? We do things as a tribe, but the alumni have opportunities to come together intimately, right? Continue to love on one another, right? Continue to connect, to continue to grow, have safe space to continue climbing, right? So that is the Blaze Business Intensive. Special pricing for 2 hours. So click what you see in here, special pricing for 2 hours, and then it's just reset back to what it be, right? Take advantage of that. I want to know your name. I want to see you. I want to know your voice. I want to know what you care about. I want to know what keeps you up at night. I got you. Trust me, I got you. Okay. So don't sleep on this. There's no reason to. right? An investment in yourself is always an investment in your business. But otherwise, stay in touch with me, okay? I'd love to walk alongside you on the journey. So follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel, all the things, right? So connect with us. And I appreciate you holding space with me, right? Love and light. I'm out, friends. But thank you so much for rocking with me. Have a good one. Bye.